Well, hello there, wandering ears of the internet, and welcome to the Infinite Escape Room Pubiverse. In this episode, Anna, Bailey and I chat about last week's episode, Mousetrap, and we also talk about the ridiculousness of shrinkflation, the weird and wonderful things that happen when a beloved cartoon character moves into the public domain, looking at you, Steamboat Willie, chat about what Disney characters need to be turned into horror films, and finally, we give some recommendations for cool stuff you should check out. So here we are, sitting in the House of Maus pub where there are rodent droppings literally everywhere, and I'm pretty sure one of them is piloting the head chef. Taking a quick break after our escape from Michael Maus's Third Reich steamboat to have a drink and a chat about the room, what we just did. But first of all, it's my round. So who's drinking what?
So I'm Bailey, and because I'm, more than a little bit pregnant at the moment, I'm on a little San Miguel Zero lager, which isn't my usual wine, but it's actually not bad, actually. You actually feel like you're having a bit of a social drink and not on lemonade and water and squash all the time. So, so feeling a bit like an adult.
How does it compare to the regular stuff? I mean, is it noticeable that it's different?
Not overly, I don't think. Like it tastes like beer, maybe a bit like a tad thinner, like a tad more watery. But to be honest, there's a lot of like good non-alcoholic alternatives. If in fairness, there's like a real good range. Alan loves the Guinness Zeros. I absolutely adores them. So, and it just feels like there's just no difference. Obviously, you're not getting drunk. That's the main difference in the buzz. But yeah, I've got to say, it's not. You don't feel like, and if I was just like, if I had mentioned it, you probably wouldn't have even clocked it as well. So
wouldn't have batted an eyelid.
Yeah, but the taste is, I think, like, if you're a proper into your beer, I'm not like massively into my beers. Wine, you can definitely taste the difference, but I generally, before I was pregnant, drank wine, so I'm more, I'm more into that. But for me, I'm not like an aficionado of beers and ales and everything. It does the job. So, yeah, it's nice.
Lefte's a good one as well. We got some of those recently.
Ooh.
Because they were reduced. And then we found out that they were zero alcohol when we got to the till. But they were nice, yeah.
Yeah. A family, because I quite like no secco and everything as well.
Yeah.
But a family friend... bought No Secco, but thought it was like a brand, like No Secco, just like it like wasn't non-alcoholic, and tasted it and was like, and their husband pointed out to them it wasn't alcoholic. She was like, "What?" and just poured it all down the sink.
Oh, no.
She was so annoyed.
I've drank 17 bottles and all I've got is heartburn. I'm not even slightly buzzed. This is an outrage.
She just like didn't like get it at all. But, but it's but if it's good in a pinch. It's good in a pinch.
I'm drinking an enormous bottle of Cruz Campo. Mainly bought this because we were supposed to go to so the local pub. We have a bit of a fraught relationship with the local pub because it's the only one in the village. Well, it's not actually. There's a working men's club which always looks really lovely and welcoming, but we don't know whether we need an invite to be able to go in there. So we didn't go in there, and we were going to go to the local pub and have dinner before the recording. But we walked all the way there and it was shut, and it didn't mention it was shut on the website or on Google, and the times differ on Google and on the website. So it's a bit of a nightmare. The thing is, I feel bad because it's quite when it's open, it's a really good pub. So I can imagine people would travel to get there and then just find that it's shut.
Oh, God.
So it was shut. So we were dejected. Me and my husband walked back and picked up a big bottle each from the offie. So
sounds good.
That's my enormous bottle of Cruz Campo.
Cruz Campo. And it is enormous.
Ooh.
Fair play,
It's
Hannah.
huge.
Yeah. That's decent. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think all beers should come in that format from now on. That's
pretty
amazing.
much. Just that should just be the measurement, the minimum.
Is it a litre? Is this a litre? No, it's 660.
But
Anyway,
still,
hefty.
So, not
Hefty
quite.
bottle.
Yeah, but still, that's a decent measure.
See,
Yeah.
this is why European sizes are the way to go. Like, do you know that they're going to change the size of a bottle of wine? That a bottle of wine is now going to be a pint. So you
Really?
don't get, yeah. Or I think British wines are going to be, a bottle of wine is a pint.
In a pint, like a milk
Who the fuck
bottle.
orders a pint of wine?
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, any wine of any amount is nice, but
Who would drink a pint of wine?
I've got no idea.
Bailey.
Definitely not me.
I retract my earlier statement. That's actually any amount of wine is good, but why stop at a pint where you can get, a regular size bottle?
Yeah, that seems a bit. But again, I bet the price will be the same as it was before.
Yeah.
Oh,
It'll
God,
just be,
yeah.
like less.
Yeah.
Like that's.
Yeah. Honestly, I picked up a toffee crunch the other day, and I don't know whether it's because I was smaller, but I swear toffee crunches used to be these hefty boys, big boys, right?
Yeah.
And they're tiny, they're flat.
What of a chocolate called a Hefty Boy? That's a great name for a chocolate bar.
I can imagine they take the Yorkie advert of the late 90s, early noughties.
Oh yeah, no girls allowed.
No
It's
girls
there's a Hefty
or
Boy.
a hefty boy. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I remember when the people first started noticing that the chocolate bars are getting smaller. They tried to blame it on us and say that it was our hands getting bigger. Like, don't put this back on me. It's not my fault. Yorkie bars are getting smaller.
No.
It's like the Toblerone gaps as well, because they've gone from being really chunky to like massive gaps in between each little triangle bit. So it's just and Freddos. Don't get me started on Freddos. Jesus, it's just
Government, just please let us have something that we can keep. That's ours. You took the Freddos.
At least let us be
alcoholics. At least numb the pain and numb the void.
I'm Jamie, and as you might expect, I'm drinking another mead. This one is a Nidhogger raspberry and lemon mead that I got for Christmas in it. But I have waiting in the wings a backup mead. That's like an apple mead. That is a bit bigger than a pint, so that'll be nice. Once this one goes, that'll be lovely.
Jamie, is it based on Nidhogg, the game?
I wish it was. That would be great.
That would be such a cool game for beers to. I don't know, it'd be yellow or pink, when you fighting, it's just or the yellow or orange. I can't remember the other colour blood that goes everywhere.
It's such a good game. Yeah, I think it's just based on Norse mythology, which is cool, but not as cool as Nidhogg the game. That's a fantastic game.
I love it.
That was a fun game.
Yeah. I honestly, I nearly wet myself watching other people play it. I just think it's the most hilarious game to watch.
It's so frustrating as well.
And you just see the people, the two people getting really angry, and then the little people oh God, I love it. I can't.
And even when you win, you get to the end of it, and just this big serpent rises out and goes and just swallows you up. So even when you win, you lose. It's great.
And it's really fun to see people who haven't played it. And then they think, I won. And then they're like, oh. They don't realise that that's the win. That's what you get if you win.
A spoiler warning for anyone who's not listened to the previous episode. We will be talking about the room that we did last week. So if you haven't listened to that episode, stop your recording right now. What do you think you're doing? Listen to that episode first, then come back and we'll talk about the room. Or just don't do that. I'm not your dad. I don't care what you do. You carry on.
I do what I want.
So in last week's episode, our intrepid puzzlers were stuck in the jail cell of the Steamboat Willie, which featured in the cartoon of the same name that had Mickey Mouse in it. Mickey, who is now a snuff-addled Nazi sympathizer sleeper agent, had locked you up and is trying to start World War III, but thanks to some deft parrot... I was going to say seducing, but that's not the right word. But I've said it now, it's too late. Parrot whispering. Some deft telescoping and dressing up as a Nazi officer, you managed to thwart World War III and take Mickey Mouse back where he belongs in Walt Disney's loving embrace. So well done, both of you. You did very, very well.
Yeah, but it was a great puzzle, lots of good stages and confusing enough, but then when all the pieces came together, it was quite clear what we needed to do.
I thought that was fantastically built, Jamie. Really good. I enjoyed that so much.
You.
I felt very accomplished when I got something right. And I think that's the sign of a good puzzle, if you manage to make me feel clever.
Definitely, like
for recognising something.
Those
That's what I live for.
Yeah, it was like those light bulb moments. And I think, Anna, we worked well together. I think
we were a great team. We're going to have to get on here together. Yeah,
totally.
We're going to, we'll have to team up once again.
Yeah.
I think that was, really good. I'm sorry I made you dress up like a Nazi.
Dressed up as worse. No, actually I haven't, to be fair. Like, I've dressed up as a lot in my life. But at least it's fiction, it's imaginary. So
I love your willingness to do it, though. There wasn't even a hint of hesitation. Just, well, there's a Nazi uniform there. This must be the way I
wasn't happy about it, Jamie. But I genuinely thought, because
although I was also not happy about dressing up like Mickey.
Yeah. And all the soiled, blood-stained, cruddy.
It got very Evil Dead. Well, not even. No, come on. There's got to be a better reference. It got a bit Blair Witch at the end.
It did a bit. It was a bit like hostile, like sore.
Yeah.
I think you did. I think you did fine. You took it in stride, which is the main thing. So, I mean, was there any part of it that like you struggled with?
I was really stumped when we got the into the kitchen. And with the 6-digit code and stuff, and I was like, well, how are we going to make sense of this? Because I just felt it didn't occur to me to go into. Well, not at that stage that maybe the answer to the clues were in other parts, in other rooms. You know, so I was a bit worried then. I think when we had the pictograms, and when we first met the parrot and had the. The chirpy chirp. Yeah. That was.
But you were so quick off the mark with the cracker. I'd completely forgotten about the cracker at that point. So I was so glad you remembered that.
I know. That was a bit of a light bulb moment. I was like, yes. I'm glad that worked out. I was just trying to remember because Jamie, you kept putting those like little clues in, like and you nicked you cut your hand on this and you knocked a bit of water, which I'd forgotten about. So so that was really good.
Yeah. I remembered the leaky roof as well.
You picked up on the blood thing really, really quickly. Like once you knew that you needed it, like you recalled that part of the introduction script straight away, which is great. I thought that because I just put it in as part of the flavour, you would have completely forgotten it, which is great. The steamer trunk, those pictograms, I think my not that intentional shit drawing kind of stumped you a little bit where the egg looked like a potato. That's my intention. I was like, this will throw.
And we were like, we'll have to go back and count all the potatoes.
You got it. Got it done.
I love that you were like, no, there's infinite potatoes.
Thank you so much. Otherwise, we would have counted all the potatoes.
We could have easily just spent the next 20 minutes looking at potatoes. It wasn't even. It was an egg. Wasn't even a freaking potato.
I'll put that down to slightly poor puzzle design on myself. Not drawing an egg in the correct way.
No, I think at the beginning I was stumped a little bit because whenever we start a puzzle and you're not sure if there's going to be other rooms, and before you do a bit of investigation, I think for a little while I was assuming that we were just going to have potatoes, bucket, mop, peeler, and I was just like, we're going to have to make some magic with this.
Some Disney magic. I
think I did a bit of a boo-boo at that start, because when in my original script for that room, it wasn't a potato peeler, it was an actual knife. Because that's what's in the original cartoon. But I thought if I say knife, it's going to be too obvious that they can carve a point on that mop. So I changed it on the fly to potato peeler and tried to backpedal.
And that was another great one from Bailey as well, was to think to whittle it down.
Yeah, after my first thought of trying to attach it to the end of the mop with a potato.
I think, if there was such a thing as like inspiration points or something in the escape rooms, then I think definitely get one for trying to make potato Meccano.
Potato Meccano, I like that. Yeah.
When you were trying to incapacitate the jailer, you did what I hoped you would do, which was get the snuff tin from up top and chuck it under his nose. But just in case like you didn't want to do that, there were a number of other things you could have done to get rid of him. So the rope that was up on the bridge, on the deck, could have tied him up. And also what I thought you might have done, because you had a sharpened mop, you might just straight up murder him, just stab him on.
That's what that did cross my mind. I was like,
I'm going to be honest, Jamie. Yeah, so carry on, baby. Sorry.
I was just going to say maybe we should try and like at least like not kill him or give him like.
I don't know what it was. Something about being locked up and then suddenly being freed with all of these utensils. It just really awakened something awfully homicidal in me. I was just like, we've got all of this stuff.
We could just stab him with the
just
mop.
take him out. Yeah.
Take over the boat
with our shiv. Our mop shiv, that did cross my mind. The rope I'd forgotten about, to be honest, but the mop, I was like, we could just stab him if this doesn't work. You don't think twice. Like you said, Anna, it's like you're free.
You're free, yeah. We were in a desperate situation, and therefore we had to.
Actually, that would have doubled up with. We could have used his blood for the shorts then as well. So we wouldn't have had to cut ourselves. So two birds, one stone.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm liking where this is going.
That's the only thing that I haven't heard too much about the copyright thing. Yeah, so I heard, I don't know if it was just Mickey Mouse or something that people were starting to, what was it? The copyright had lapsed or something. Was that right? Am I speaking? Yeah, and then people were just making incredibly dark fan art out of Mickey.
I've missed this. I haven't seen this.
So for context of the episode, so Steamboat Willie is the third cartoon that Disney made. Not the first, but he was the one that made Disney really popular. That was made on the 18th of November, 1928, which was the code that you put into the steamer trunk. Normal copyrights.
Okay.
See, it's all intertwined. It's like an ogre. There's layers. It's great.
Like onions. Yeah.
But the copyright for that should have ended in.
It's like potatoes.
The copyright should have ended in 2003. But Disney managed to change the law to get 20 more years added onto the copyright of it, just because they've got that much money and power. So I think they kept trying to push it and fight it and extend it, and now it's gotten to the point where I think it's just the PR disaster wouldn't be worth it, so they've let it go. So now it's officially, as of the 1st of January, Steamboat Willie is public domain. But Disney being Disney, I think putting their nose very close to anything to get the slightest sniff of somebody who's not using it quite right. So so Steamboat Willie is public domain, but that's only if you use that version of Mickey Mouse. So it's in black and white. He doesn't wear gloves. And none of the other Disney characters are allowed either. So even if you use the version of Mickey in Fantasia that was in 1940, that's a different Mickey, and that's still under copyright, so they will smack you down. But they've as soon as the public domain thing was announced, they announced that they would be a horror film and a horror game based on Steamboat Willie. Just like we did last year when Winnie the Pooh was public domain, they made a horror film.
Yeah, but Blood and Honey, isn't it? Winnie the Pooh,
Yeah.
Blood and Honey. Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Alan saw it.
It looks awful.
What do you think?
I mean, I think it's just quite funny. Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
so my brother does like bad film nights. So it's like
Nice.
Troll 2, and which is an amazing film if you haven't watched it. Like it's amazing. Like it's the worst horror film. The production values are awful, but it's the best film I've ever watched. It's amazing. So they did a Halloween one and watched Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Yeah, it's kind of along those lines, basically. It's not good, but I think it kind of verges on the point that it's so bad it is good. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I didn't realise that makes sense that the copyright went. So, yeah.
Yeah, and be prepared for a sequel, because I think this year the copyright on Tigger expired as well. They weren't allowed to use it last year because it was slightly delayed, so they can now probably do a sequel where it's Blood and Honey 2. Tigger harder or something like that.
Yeah.
Equally, a thing you wouldn't want to hear in a dark alley next to Mickey Mouse, you'd have Tigger's little
Oh God, yeah. But I think it's really interesting to see what kind of comes out from, especially when it's Disney, and like, you know, you think quite, you know, magical childhood like things, and then
horror.
it just gets twisted so much. It's just very dark.
I didn't realize how visceral this episode would become until, like, you know, we finished it and we've got Nazi uniforms, snuff tins, and smearing blood over clothing. So, I mean, it's in the spirit of that sort of horror vibe.
Yeah, like I suppose, like going so far with it that it's not anything to do with the original. It kind of is loosely, but it's not, because it's so wild. You know, it's just so.
Keeps the lawyers away.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
We'll see. Don't cancel us,
Fingers
Disney.
crossed.
What I find funny about Disney, though, is that when they made, like, the vast majority of their classic films are based on fairy stories and things like that were already public domain. They've taken those and they've gone, no, these are ours. And we'll just...
Yes.
Like, I saw a thing in the 80s, they did legitimately sue a bunch of daycare centres in the US because they had a picture of Mickey Mouse on the wall.
Oh, I think they've sued like children's hospital. They've like, yeah. Well, actually, I don't know for certain, but I've heard that they've done terrible things like that, like suing charities and things.
Probably have.
Oh God! Oh, Disney. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's dark in itself, isn't it? You know.
Yeah. And I should probably point out at this point that despite the theme of the last episode, there is no evidence to suggest that Walt Disney was a Nazi sympathizer.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put that out there.
Yeah.
But he's definitely frozen, though, right?
Oh, yeah, his head was cryogenically frozen. That's the fun rumour that I heard about that, the conspiracy theory, is that people were getting close to finding out the truth. So to take them off the scent, they created the film Frozen, so that when you Google Disney Frozen, you get the film and not the truth about his frozen head.
Oh, really? That's a great idea.
You just gotta let it go. You gotta let it go, Jamie. Yeah.
Do you want to build a snowman? As long as Walt's got the head.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I love the idea. So if they're taking all of these children's properties and turning them into horror films, then are they going to take all of the old horror characters and just turn them into like
Disney characters?
Like Disney characters, yeah.
It's like really pleasant, like feel-good holiday films or something. That'd be amazing.
Like Mike Myers.
I mean, the rate that they're buying up other companies, like technically, like Leia is a Disney princess now.
Of course.
Black Widow is a Disney princess. So if like, Disney's got the money, they could probably buy Universal Studios and like the Bride of Frankenstein. Disney princess now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
To play a witch. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, Blair Witch will need a bit of a scrub.
Yeah, maybe like a bit of a Pretty Woman transformation. Yeah, just yeah.
What Disney film do you think would be a good candidate then for a horror remake?
Was Inside Out Disney? Or was that? Yeah, I'm just thinking because you could make that if it not inside of the mind of a little girl, but like inside the mind of a serial killer or something.
Oh, that's good.
Like just,
Wall-E
and every single emotion is joy.
Post-apocalyptic.
Yeah. It's just Amy Poehler like voicing every character, and she's amazing.
I love it. That's a good idea.
And it's just like, yay! Let's go! It's right now. Woo! Yeah, it's really dark.
Yeah.
I
mean, Fantasia was pretty scary from what I remember.
Yeah.
Doesn't he like fight the devil or something?
Yeah.
Jesus.
I read somewhere that it was a big influence on how people perceive the devil now, because obviously it was such a widespread film that people's kind of view of the devil or idea of the devil wasn't so much the red horns and everything.
Oh wow!
Until that film, but I'm probably spouting complete rubbish. But
hey, this is all good.
No, it's all pub talk. It's all pub talk.
Yeah. Yeah, don't ask me to name my sources, but because the thing is, when you look in the old Bibles and things like that, or illustrated manuscripts, devils always look just completely wacky. They've got all sorts of things going on.
Yeah. I suppose fair. Halloween, like America especially, that costume is like kind of quite synonymous, isn't it? So that would make sense if it came from a Disney, also American film.
I want to see more devils as portrayed by Tim Curry in the film Legend, where it's the horns, but he's ripped to shit, and he's kind of sexy about it too.
Oh, Tim Curry.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're like, oh my God, he's the epitome of evil. I have mixed feelings.
Yeah, and I kind of like it.
Yeah.
I've sinned.
Oh no, Father, forgive me. Yeah.
What are you going to do? You're going to punish me, Tim?
Oh God, he's amazing. He's amazing. I love Tim Curry.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'd like to see a horror remake of Dumbo, but the bit where he has like the pink elephant fever dream.
Yeah, that would be scary.
Yeah,
they did remake it. They did a live action remake.
Yeah, Tim Burton, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Did they do that bit where he gets pissed?
Yeah, they did, but it didn't have the punch of the original. It wasn't scary. It was just a CGI show kind of thing.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, it wasn't, because there was kind of like a dreamlike, just spooky quality about the original.
Yeah. It was like when they remade Pinocchio recently with Tom Hanks. I watched it and I was waiting for the bit where the one guy gets turned into a donkey.
Oh,
I terrified the shit out of me when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And you watch the remake and you're like, this is nothing.
Yeah. The remakes are generally not great.
Yeah, I think they kind of like I think the original ones were dark enough, to be honest. Like I'm not. If I'm completely, I'm not a big fan. I don't really kind of think I've watched them when I was little because Mum and Dad were like, "Oh, it's a Disney film," and it's just shit out of you. And you're like,
just a nice bit of trauma.
So yes, I'll stick with Beauty and the Beast. Thank you very much, and Aladdin and Lion King. Yeah, that's the golden age that I grew up in.
Yeah. What's your go-to Disney film? What's your all-time favorite? Modern, classic, whatever.
Oh, Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast. I love
Good
that
choice.
film. Not the live action, the original, the cartoon.
No. The live action one's got a good extra song, but the rest of the film is dire.
Oh, yeah, I think that's from the Broadway show.
Oh, that makes
Beast
sense.
song.
Explains why it's good.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think Alan Menken would have written that because he did a lot of the Disney for Broadway. I love that song though. I can't remember it, but I know I like it. It's so good.
I'm torn. So my favourite ones tend to be the ones so that Disney went through like a weird experimental era where they were starting to. Well, I mean, I think they've kind of been doing it from the beginning, but it feels like they've kind of settled on an art style now. So a lot of the films tend to look quite similar. But I really enjoyed, so I liked El Dorado, and I'm also torn between Atlantis as well, because they were both just really interesting looking, quite epic ones. I thought they were super fun.
It was a good story too.
The El Dorado is hilarious as well. Like,
it's
like Disney.
Yeah, actually, am I wrong? Is that even Disney? Maybe it's DreamWorks.
Oh, it might be. Whatever, it's a bloody good film anyway. Like,
Oh, it's DreamWorks.
Oh, is it DreamWorks?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
There we go.
Let's scratch that one then.
Okay.
It's not a Disney film. Yeah.
It should be a Disney.
Mulan was good.
They missed out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it the Emperor's New Groove? It was kind of like that as well, like a bit of an
that's a
alternate.
great
Yeah. Yeah. And Mulan's a classic as well.
I love Mulan.
Cause this makes me want to watch a Disney film. I haven't watched them in ages.
This is good. This is payback for the suing they're going to give us. So it's like, oh, look, they're fans. It's okay, they're fans.
Yeah, we love you. Please don't sue us, Mr. Disney.
Keep us on the air, Mr. Disney.
Please.
Yeah,
I know for a long time, my favourite was The Little Mermaid. I thought that film was fantastic. It might have been because I was doing swimming lessons at the same time.
Oh.
So I was like, oh yeah, this is great. But now I know that the superior film from Disney is Robin Hood, and I will die on that hill.
Oh, that was
is
a
a
good
very
one.
good film.
Yeah.
Like that kind of era, like Aristocats and Jungle Book. Oh, Jungle Book.
Yeah.
My favourite moment
was
in
good.
Disney's in Jungle Book when Baloo comes in on I want the King Louis song and comes in just opens the door and it's like, hey, like that's like my favourite Disney moments, like that.
Yeah.
That's good fun. I watched Jungle Book recently with my kid, and at the start of the film, it was on Disney Plus. There was a content warning at the start of the film, and I spent the entire film going, which bit's the bad bit? I had to Google it to try and figure out what
Which
bit
bit?
was the bad bit.
What is it?
I couldn't get a real answer that was consistent. The closest I got for the Jungle Book was that the whole King Louis scene potentially is a parody of black jazz musicians.
Yeah, so it's a bit.
They wanted Louis Armstrong to play King Louis, but they didn't want to, apparently, because that would be a bit...
A bit on the nose.
Yeah.
So they just got a white jazz musician called Louis and did that instead.
Yeah,
which
Peter
kind of makes
Pan's
it
pretty bad for it as well.
Yeah, that's a lot more blatant with it as well.
Yeah, with the Native American. Yeah. Not the best. Yeah, but it's of the time, isn't it? It's really hard to judge like content like that. You've kind of got to judge it, I think, on the time it was made, and then you know whether you watch it now is up to you. Because it exists. Was the societal. Not that I agree with them, but that was what was kind of acceptable. And it's tricky though.
It's making people aware of it before they go in, I guess.
The way they word it in those things, where it's like it was bad then, it's bad now, but we're keeping it in as it was originally done. You can make your own mind up, and then it kind of I suppose it keeps as many people happy as possible.
Yeah, because you don't have to watch it. It's not. It's not like the mandatory showings like that you have to sit down and watch.
I think the mouse that is controlling the head chef's head is now signaling for us to fuck off. So we'll have to vacate the bar in a short while. But before we do, something that we've been doing recently is just going around the room and everybody giving a recommendation to our listeners of something that you've enjoyed recently. I just finished a book over Christmas called Ella Minnow P, and it's quite a short book, and it's about... I'm not quite sure what it is about, to be fair. It's about this sort of island community in America that's sort of self-governing, and they've built this sort of almost religious society based on the guy who came up with the phrase, "the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog," because that sentence uses every single letter of the alphabet. They worship this guy as like a god. And they've got a statue to him with that phrase written down. And what happens through the course of the book is that some of the letters start to fall off that statue. And the council elders of this society say that this is their god, this is this guy, telling them they can't use those letters anymore. So they stop. And what happens is throughout the book, as each tile falls, the book stops using that letter. And it's written as a bunch of letters back and forth between the people on the island. And as you go through, more letters start to disappear. And then the book starts getting a bit weird as they've got to try and redo words with different spellings to not use certain letters. And if they use any of the forbidden letters, they're whipped and they're then banished from the island. So it's quite a serious thing. So by the end of it, you've got like 5 letters of the alphabet left that they have to use, and it gets really kind of like dark and dreary when they're like, I can't live like this anymore. But it's really interesting the way that they've done it by taking those letters out, and you're sort of reading these accounts of people as their language is being stripped away. It's really cool. It's by an author called Mark Dunn.
So it's kind of a tradition in my family that whenever I go down, or whenever the whole family's together, we'll just watch a horror film. And so we've had a mixed bag over the years, but the one that we watched this year was just really good, and I really enjoyed it. And for once, because I feel like horror films fall into the tropes of you kind of know what's going to happen. Like, it's always quite clear where things are going to go. You know, it's got like certain beats. But so I watched Barbarian. It came out in 2022, and it's directed by Zach Cregger. So I don't think I've seen any of his other stuff, but I thought it wasn't, because I don't like gory films particularly. It wasn't super gory. Well, it wasn't super gory in my opinion. Nothing like, like Saw or anything like that. And the concept is basically that this lady turns up to an Airbnb, and there's a guy already in the Airbnb. And so it seems like it's been double booked. And so that's the premise. But I just found it was really interesting, and you just didn't quite know where it was going to go. And it was interesting filmmaking where you know that the director knows what he's doing, and that's scary because you don't know where it's going to go, because you know that he's being clever, and so you don't know what's going to frighten you next. So I just thought that was a really good film. I really enjoyed it. I've seen a lot of horror films, and I just really enjoyed that one.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah, it was it's got like a silly edge to it, which I think is super important. I don't like it when horror films take themselves way too seriously. So it's got a bit of a silly bit. So, even if things get a little bit horrible, you're just a bit like, oh my goodness, you're more laughing out of kind of like the hilariousness of the situation kind of thing. So it's it's a good one. So totally recommend.
Mine, so I haven't actually read it yet. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos about the author talking about it and a lot of the content in it, and that's been very interesting just listening to it. So I think it's definitely on my radar to get probably the audiobook again when it comes out. But it's David Mitchell has written a history book called Unruly, and it's about the kings and queens of England. From kind of the early stages up until the end of Elizabeth I's reign. But it just sounds really like interesting. Like, I love David Mitchell as a comedian anyway. And it just sounds like a really funny but kind of like historically accurate kind of view on kind of the past. And I'm quite interested in the monarchs, but I haven't really gone back and the history and that kind of thing, like Tudors and that kind of thing. But to go back further, I think I'm going to kind of pick that up and have a look at it. But also, I think it's quite funny because in Peep's show with Mark Corrigan, he wrote a history book called The Business Secrets of the Pharaohs. So it's kind of like, like life imitating art.
Yeah. He probably thinks we haven't noticed. He thinks, I'll slip this in, after a couple of years after Peep Show's finished.
Yeah.
So nobody draws any comparisons.
I'm a serious author, guys. I'm serious. If you're into monarchs, have you seen the stage show 6?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, that's definitely amazing. Go watch it if you haven't watched it. 6 is amazing. It's
is it about kings of the past?
It's about Henry VIII's wives. Henry VIII's not in it. So it's all of so like Catherine of Aragon, Anne Boleyn, Jane Seymour, Anna Cleves.
Oh, cool, okay.
And Catherine Parr and Catherine Howard and Catherine Parr, sorry. And it's all their stories, and it's it's hilarious, it's entertaining, it's moving, kind of what they bloody put up with. And it's actually quite sad that like their stories aren't ever something you learn about. You just learn about him. And I know he's the king. he was an asshole. Like,
He was a twat.
he was an absolute asshole. So, as most, I think, like from listening to David Mitchell, is most of the kings and queens.
Yeah.
Barbaric and a bit loose in the head.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I think it's just like he had all the qualities that you'd expect in a king, basically. But it's. I think the show is just spectacular on shining a light on these stories, and it's really funny.
Oh, speaking of musicals, one final thing before we get kicked out. There is actually a musical escape room that has been created. It's an online escape room by Headlock Escape Rooms, and they did one a few years back, and it was called Keeper and the Fungus Among Us, and they've done a sequel recently called Rise of the Fungus, and they're virtual musical escape rooms with puppets. I've not played them yet, but they've won tons of awards, and it looks incredible.
Oh my!
It looks utterly ridiculous. Musical puppetry-based virtual escape room ticks all of my boxes.
Oh wow!
Yes, that's amazing.
So I believe that the barman is giving us the side eye now, so we should vacate this.
The lights
this
are going on and off. Yeah.
He's just flicking them. Fuck off.
Just go.
It's Morse code for just fuck off. So we will descend into the night. So we shall see you next time, dear listener. We're escaping from the abyss in the middle of the sea, sinking down past a German U-boat. I'm sure it'll be fine. We love you lots, and we'll see you next time on the Infinite Escape Room. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And as we saunter off into the night, singing all the tunes from Six.
Oh my God, yes.
And all the Disney songs as well. Belting out Be Prepared as I'm sick into a bin.
Classic Saturday. Oh, God. Classic Wednesday.